Welcome to Infusion Health, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, a.k.a. self-proclaimed power man. And I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey, guys.
And today we're going to be talking about, it's part 3 of People Are People. So I'm going to let Rach explain what we're talking about today.
Yeah, right. So this time it's about understanding and growth. So each of one of those breaks down into culture, arts, education, adornment, religion, and self-belief.
Okay, religion, self-belief. What was the first one?
Our culture.
Culture. Okay. So what people are people? So you're talking like African-American culture,
exactly.
Native American culture?
And, natives have a culture. African-Americans have culture. Everybody has their own culture.
Yeah, Jewish, Polish,
exactly.
Irish.
Yep. And we can quickly tie that into our art, the arts. Culture and arts can quickly be related to each other. And quick reference we could give that to for our listeners is museums. You can go look at culture and arts in museums, and for us, we did that in Cleveland, in the Cleveland Museum.
Yeah, we went there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
We went to. I'd always wanted to see the Football Hall of Fame, so we drove to Canton, Ohio. We actually stayed in Canton, Ohio, and then we saw the Football Hall of Fame, which was really interesting, really cool.
So awesome, you guys.
Then the next day we went to Cleveland and we saw the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we also saw the Cleveland Museum of Arts, which is one of the biggest art museums in the country.
Yeah, and for you didn't appreciate it as much as me and Fancy.
Why do you say I did appreciate it? I did appreciate it. A friend of ours, Fancy Ray McCloney, told us about it, and we said, "Oh, we got to check it out." So we went to check it out, and he was really into it, and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." But how do I explain it? Actually, I did a year in art school back in 84, 85. I did 1 year. I went there for 1 year. It's called the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And let's just say I did 1 year. Quite wasn't for me. I was just fresh out of high school. Didn't really know what I want. I always say if I lived that, I would have worked for a year, then probably went and toured Europe or something like that. But I do appreciate art, but some of it you look at it like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Or if it's something that like really pops out to me, that's like cool. But some of the swords and some of the weapons they had, the medieval weapons, that stuff I really, really dug. Some of the other art was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
I don't think you really appreciated the digital art. I think culture is changing as far as what they see as art.
Yeah.
Netflix is doing a whole different gambit of art. For me and you, we like, things like looking at how swords are made. Netflix has that show.
Oh, yeah, Forged in Fire.
And
your knife will fit.
Totally. And for me and the kids, we're liking, and for me and you, we also like the tattoo art.
Yeah.
But for me and the kids, we like, watching how people do makeup artist, or clothing artist,
Well, see that's really not for me. One of the things, I love Andy Warhol stuff. Mapplethorpe stuff was a little racy, little kind of Mapplethorpe stuff. I'm talking about Robert Mapplethorpe. His stuff was it was close to like, I don't know, is this art? Is it sick? Is it, but he kind of like went to the edge, which is one of the reasons I liked him. A friend of mine who I actually went to MCAT with, I was actually in a band with, Paul Paymont. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. And if you ever got a chance to, I think it's paulpaymont.com or something like that, but he's an artist and he's gone all over Europe and all that, selling his art. So yeah, I like stuff like that. Like I said, Michelangelo, I would love to see the Sistine Chapel, Salvador Dali, so I know art. Matter of fact, my mom had a ton of art. She had a ton of Ernie Banks stuff. If you don't know who Ernie Banks is the guy who did the paintings for the show Good Times. And we had a ton of his art all over the house. So yeah, I am familiar with art, but again, it has to be something, that pops to me or something like that. I mean, if you show me a picture of a fruit bowl, somebody painted a fruit bowl, I'm like, yeah, it's a fruit bowl. Yeah.
But talking about fruit bowl painting of it, on the other end, you appreciate the art of food when you're like working with it.
Yeah, well, one of the things about me, and you probably wonder why do you go to art school? Anyways, I'm not a drawer, I'm not a painter. I actually went there for media, trying to get into film and stuff like that. But one of the things I have found, one of the things since me and Rach have been dating now, I think we've discussed this before, but when me and Rach started dating, let's just say I stepped into a role of not only did I get a girlfriend, but I got a girlfriend with 5 kids. So I do most of the cooking over at the house, and a lot of times that's art. So I watch like Food Networks and really into plating and stuff like that, and wanting it to look fancy and stuff like that. But one of the things I think about food art is that what I really love about it is like it's really cool because you create this dish and you plate it in this real artistic way and all that, and everybody looks at it, then you eat it and it's gone. So you got that one chance, either you take a picture now or you're never going to see this again. Even if it's the same dish, it's going to be presented different. So that's kind of one of the things I like about it.
Absolutely. So I mean, I think that's what's new in our culture, where art used to be, even it used to be in paintings or sculptures. People are starting to see the food as art, makeup as art, clothing as art, even swords as art now. And these
I think it's always been art. It's always the art of doing it or something like that, but it's always kind of been art. But maybe what you're saying, I think it's people are getting into a lot of different things of the art concept or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving on in our topics, education. So I was just on Wisdom, the app. And for those who don't understand what wisdom is, it's kind of like you get on here, you talk to other people about general conversations. It's a whole gambit of conversations. And one of the conversations was about education. And for me, I jumped on there and said, for myself, I did not find that going to school was beneficial, and I did not find education great until after I stepped out of the K through 12 and started doing self-education.
Mm-hmm. But sidebar, if you're out there listening, go to school. We're not saying don't go to school.
And that's
go to school.
No. And for my 5 kids, that's where I now tell them that it's important for education. So, where you're saying, I'm not saying that it's not important. Absolutely, it's important. You have to find your own niche in education.
Yeah, get your basics down. Go to school.
Yeah. And, Maxine, she's like, I don't know what I want to do.
Maxine's our oldest daughter.
And I'm like, get your generals.
Yeah.
Figure out what you want to do, but you've got time.
Mm-hmm.
Get your generals, And while you're figuring out what you want to do, find your love while doing self-education.
Mm-hmm.
And for education out there, never give up on education. My father is in his 70s and still having education. He's teaching education still,
Yeah. Well, it's always my thing is people think, and I'm one of them, used to think, hey, you know what? I spent 8 hours in school today. I come home, I don't got to learn anymore. But then after I graduated high school, it was one of those things where I was like, always keep learning. One of the things is with me, I really didn't know much about politics. I really didn't pay much about politics. But then seeing how the world was going a few years ago, I started reading a lot more books and started reading a lot more on it. And now I've gotten to the point to where I can actually hold myself in a conversation, because a lot of times I was kind of like Harpo Marx. People were talking, I just sit there, listen, go, But then it's like, the more I got educated on it, the more I knew about it, the more I can say, hey, okay, here's my opinion. This is what I think, So, and that's what we're saying too, is that always keep learning. Like I was never an A student, A+ student or anything like that, but I always loved learning,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in school, for me, I felt like the dumb one, but,
Yeah, me too.
you know, but it was after school where I found my niche of appreciating education,
Hmm.
and I'm in my 40s and I love education now.
Oh yeah.
And, when I'm teaching what I'm trying to teach my other 5 kids is you might not appreciate school now, but get your generals, and find your niche of what you appreciate in school.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I think the thing too is, let's just say last night we were driving home. Congratulations to her father, Gary Cass, who just celebrated his 71st birthday. We were driving home from Marshall, Minnesota, and we got on the kids about wanting to learn and being to learn, and because we got a couple kids that are like, well, we read, but we got this app that we can download the book and listen to. I said, that's not reading. You have to sit down and read a book. It's very, very important that you read, that you learn how to read. I said, because if you go to fill out an application, it's not going to be on your cell phone. If they want you to sign something, it's going to be right there in front of you. They're not going to, well, you can't download it and somebody can talk to you. No, you got to be able to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my daughter a couple years ago, she's into appreciating, the fine arts of designing clothes and stuff like that. And I said, you're going to need a lawyer in the future. And she's like, well, I won't have to learn how to read. And I said, your lawyer is going to look at that weakness and take advantage of
that. Yeah. There's the old adage, you hire a lawyer, then you hire another one to watch him.
So, find your niche. I learned something a long time ago that was an advantage to me. Learn for 3 reasons: learn for fun, learn for business, and learn for education. Mm-hmm. That you're always learning.
Yeah, well, like I said, I wasn't a A+ student, but I remember when I went into went to get my real estate license. And it was one of those things, watching those late night infomercials. You could be rich in real estate and buying properties. And I said, well, I probably need to get my real estate license, so I know a little bit more. So I go in to get my real estate license, and I'm like, you got to take this test. I'm like, and I was always terrible at taking tests, but it took me 5 times for one test and 6 times for the other, but I got it, and right. I appreciate my parents because I was always encouraged, like, hey, listen, if you got to take it 100 times, take it until you get it, and I was able to get my real estate license. I'm not active in real estate right now, and I kind of let my license lapse, but it was a big triumph that, hey, I was able to do that,
Mm-hmm. So moving on, Adornment. So now this is something that Chris appreciates. He loves his jewelry. Now, when I'm talking about jewelry, I'm not talking about these fancy women that go into the jewelry store and buy it up. I'm talking about Chris when he goes into a store. He likes that manly man jewelry.
Yeah, man jewelry, skulls.
For me, I have to watch what I buy because I'm allergic to nickel. So a nickel is some very cheap jewelry and some watches. So I have to watch what I buy. There was one year that he wanted to buy me a watch, and I said, "Don't even bother. I can't wear it."
I did buy you a watch. I bought you a Tennessee Titans watch.
Yeah, and I can't wear it because of the nickel in it. But there are starting to be jewelry makers out there that are being aware of some of that. But Chris, why don't you enlighten some of the listeners to some of the jewelry that you like to wear?
Like gold. I got a gold chain I wear around my neck. When it comes to me with jewelry, I'm not a bling type of guy. I like my bling, but I don't wear it all out and flash it all around. I got a cross with Jesus on the cross. I also wear a peace sign with that, around my neck on a 14 karat gold chain. If you guys are I just don't want nobody to rob me. Hey, there he is. No. Anyways, I wear that, and then I like gold bracelets, and I also like I got some sterling silver rings, skulls, and stuff like that. I don't wear it all the time because the job I have, I don't want to ruin it, especially with all the chemicals and all that I work with. I don't want that getting all on my jewelry. And I also like watches. I've actually gotten into watch trading, so it's a new thing for me. Rach brought me my first watch, and then I saw this other watch that was nice, and I bought that. And then I just went nuts with watches.
You went crazy, but yeah, you appreciate all that stuff. As for clothing, and adornment, I like movement pieces, as far as bring peace on earth, or Black Lives Matter, that kind of thing, or love versus just that kind of stuff. My kids joke around, if they wanted to be me for Halloween, it would be easy because it would be an activist t-shirt. But for you, you would usually wear what for clothing?
For Halloween?
No, if the kids wanted to be you for Halloween, what kind of t-shirt or clothing would they wear?
Oh, that's easy. Just a pair of jeans, some hikers, a Power Man t-shirt, and a leather jacket.
But for my children, what they would wear, for Elizabeth, she would probably wear something with Chanel.
Yeah.
And Maxine would probably wear oversized sweatshirt or something like that.
Yeah, and Colin wears a dirty t-shirt with dirty shorts, dirty socks, and dirty underwear. 40 below weather out, and he's in basketball shorts. I'm like, think you should put some on? No, I'm fine. Oh, okay.
But talking about our children, I mean, me as a child, or a teenager, yeah, I've definitely changed my clothes, style, for who I was as a teenager compared to who I am now. As a teenager, for women out there, and I would love to have that conversation with a woman on here. So any woman that would like to jump on here, an activist woman, just reach out to our Infusion Health, loveinfusionhealth@gmail.com. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is, the clothing that I used to wear as a teenager was very revealing and would leave very little to a man's eye. And I got very much the wrong type of eye. In fact, very different from the person that I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I would love to have that conversation with an activist woman in the future. But my children are like, no way, Mom. You used to wear that kind of stuff, and the people that meet me now are like, I can't even imagine that you would be that kind of person.
Yeah, well, when you're in your rebellious teens, that was one of the things with me before. Back when I was younger, I was a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter. I ain't afraid to say it. But then I started working out and all that. It was funny because when I was bigger, the clothes were a lot tighter, But then when I started getting in shape and all that, the clothes became a lot more baggier. I don't know if that was a conscious thing or whatever, but it's like I don't like the clothes all baggy, tight, I wear some tight shorts or something like that when I'm working out, but then I got my t-shirt over it. I tuck it in when I'm running, but other than that, it's like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it became a conscious thing, but it's like the clothes became a lot looser when I started getting in shape. When my body actually started wearing better. So it's a weird thing. But when you're young and you're kind of rebellious, you always got that kind of thing. But that's one of the things dealing with daughters is that okay, if you dress like that, you're going to be perceived like that. And even though you may be the smartest person in the room and all that, guys are going to look at you and guys are going to think one thing. And I always tell them, how I know that? Why? Because I am a guy. Anyway.
Right. Anyways, moving on. Religion. We're coming into a strong holiday season.
Yeah.
All holidays in December. The Jewish, Christian, Muslim, are all coming into a holiday. And so religious. And for me and you, we have studied pretty much all the religions.
Yeah, we've looked at we haven't been practicing. We've just kind of looked at them, read about them, stuff like that. But I think it's safe to say I think we're both we're both in the New Thought religion.
Absolutely. So for all those that are celebrating those holidays, we wish you a great holiday season.
Yeah, have a good safe holiday season.
And after this this people are done, we are looking at broadening this, and we would like to get people on different ethnics and different religions on here to enlighten everybody that is listening to this podcast about that kind of stuff. But lastly, self-belief. So with that, it goes into a couple different categories. So what do you believe yourself to be?
What do I believe myself to be? I don't quite know what you mean by the question.
So for myself, I believe myself
good looking, strong, and rich.
I believe myself to be a person that wants justice in this world. Peaceful justice.
Yeah.
Peaceful justice.
Yeah.
And the way I go about it is looking at a situation that's wrong and trying to find the most peaceful solution. Whether I step up to the plate and try to make that a peaceful solution, or try to, make sure that the situation's going the right way.
Yeah, well, I would say that's kind of me too, because I've been with friends where friends have gotten into arguments and gotten into fights, and I'm like, okay, let me look at it. Okay, he's in the right. Why are you taking his side? It's like it's not a thing of whose side I'm taking. It's a thing of who is right. You probably shouldn't have. Yeah, he shouldn't have did that to you, but you shouldn't have did that to him. And had you guys not done that, this is maybe that's why I get into judges shows, because he was in the right, or. Even with the kids, it's like, okay, well, you took especially with girls. Yeah, you took her shirt. Why did you take her shirt? Well, you didn't have nothing to wear. You didn't have permission, so you shouldn't have took her shirt. And
maybe you should have washed your clothes instead of taking her shirt.
Exactly. Maybe if you'd have did your laundry, you wouldn't have had to take her shirt,
But, I think a lot of people, talking about road rage and stuff like that, maybe you should just slow down instead of speeding up and getting into that anger.
Yeah, well, when it comes to road rage, I had an incident with road rage. Luckily, nothing happened, and luckily, I or the people that I was going up against were not hurt. But I was driving. We got in Minnesota. We don't call it the passing lane. We call it the fast lane in Minnesota, and everybody drives slow in the fast lane. And one day I was leaving a comedy gig, and I was driving, and I was adjusting the radio, and I was in the fast lane. Some people got behind me, and they gave me the finger. I gave them the finger back, and it started going down the road and stuff like that. Next thing you know, we're racing down the freeway, and they're pointing something at me, and I'm like trying to get my seat back so I don't get shot. But next thing you know, he had this big sword that he's waving out the window. And after that, I was just like, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. One of the things that happens in Minnesota when you're driving in the slow lane, somebody will come up behind you, and especially at night, they'll flash their high beams on you. And what it's basically saying is like, move over. And some people are like, oh, hit your brakes. He can run into you. You can sue him. I'm like, you know what? Just move over. And since I've taken that approach, I've learned that, hey, you know what? I'm going slow. I'm holding up traffic. Just let me move over. Let these people go by. And if somebody's coming up to me real fast here, I'll move over, go by. Obviously, he has something that's more important to get to than where I got to get to. It ain't worth it, people. And that's just my take on it.
In the word Karen of the world, are you listening to what they're saying? Because, there was one instance that I seen, and the woman was so upset. She's like, I'm going so fast because I need to get to my very sick husband. He's dying and stuff like that. In that instance, she's hurting.
Yeah.
But there's other situations that I've definitely seen where the woman needed to take a break.
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes you just need to listen in the situation and find out what the person's truly upset about, and sometimes just walk away.
Well, I saw one the other day, and I was it's been on my mind for the last few weeks because I saw this thing where this guy was in his truck. I think it was Walmart or somewhere. I'm not sure what city it was, but he was parked, and the girl's like, "Move your truck. Your truck's too close to my car." And the guy didn't move his truck. She goes, "You're gonna move your truck?" So then she gets out her car and she starts scratching his truck and then spray painting his truck. And I'm like, I don't know about you, and I know how much people spend on their car, on their vehicles,
Right.
especially your truck. I don't know about you, but I'd have got it. Once she starts scratching my vehicle, I'm out of the truck, and me and her are gonna have it. I mean, I will grab her.
I'm calling 911,
Yeah.
and you better calm yourself.
I'm not saying I would hit a woman, but I would definitely do her and subdue her and call the cops, because that is, you have committed a crime, and legally under the law, and you may have to check this out. Do not quote me on any of this, but legally under the law, you have committed a crime, and I can place you under citizen's arrest. Especially, and they were recording it on their phones. They're like, "We got you on video." I'm like, "No. You start scratching my truck or scratching my vehicle. No, it's on. I'm
Right.
sorry, it's on."
So, listen to the situation. Keep yourself reserved. So it's not escalated.
Yeah.
And just calm down, because too many people are getting hot. I get it. We've been in this pandemic way too long. Everybody is hurt about so many things. We haven't been able to deal with these emotions. We haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But breathe it out and walk away if you need to.
Well, one of the things with the pandemic was I found out I was fortunate to still keep working during the pandemic, and I was leaving work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and usually it takes me about an hour, about 45 minutes to get to work, which usually on any other day takes me 30 minutes. So about 45 to an hour because of the traffic, because there was a lot of traffic, and during the pandemic, in the morning, the highways were basically bare. The freeways were basically bare. Then next thing you know, people are coming behind me. I'm like, this is not a racetrack now.
Mm-hmm.
And during the pandemic, there was a report on the news where they said that they've written more speeding tickets
Right.
because people thought it was a racetrack. Hey, I don't have to sit in traffic. It was like, hey, you still got to drive the speed. I was like, man, this is crazy.
Right.
And every day we were coming to work. Yeah, this guy just zoomed right past me. Every day was like, this guy just zoomed right. This guy was weaving in and out of traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Lastly, in self-belief, what do you believe the universe is about? When we're talking about religion, we have our pastors and priests and everything telling us, what our higher power thinks, what's going to happen to us, but we also believe our own beliefs, and for you guys, I'm going to leave you guys to comment on our Facebook page what you think that's about. It's Infusion Health. Drop a comment on what you guys think, your self-belief on what the universe is about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you guys for listening. Chris, you got anything to add?
No, just have a good holiday season and keep listening to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you like us, please leave a comment. If you hate us, please leave a comment.
Yeah, and if you want to hear something else, absolutely, we want to hear that too.
And if you would like to be on the podcast, please send us a line. Rach could tell us how you can get in contact with us. We'd love to have you on.
loveinfusionhealth@gmail.com.
And Rach, you want to close us out?
Absolutely. History is born on lines of hate. On here, we're trying to build lines of love and trying to make you guys your best advocate. Until next time.
Take it easy.